The Loving Grace organization called in some serious muscle for their latest renovation project. I'm Lisa Olligas and you're watching Newsmakers. In this edition, we learn about Loving Grace as a home for young women aging out of foster care, renovations to the home, and plans for the organization's second building. We'll talk with the executive director of Loving Grace and other staff about the future plans and learn the impact of volunteers, who include our very own MSSU football players, with a special interview segment by student communication major Dimitri Lloyd with head football coach Atiba Bradley. But to kick off our conversation, we have with us today the executive director of Loving Grace, Trina Davis, and new to the organization, development coordinator Cece Brown. Ladies, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
We appreciate you. Your motto, "Homeless doesn't mean hopeless," is more than just a statement. It has become a reality of the Loving Grace organization. Now, the Oglesby shelter has housed women 2,500 nights, serving up to 1,087 meals. So let's start with talking about the importance of being able to create a safe space, and providing these young women with regular nourishment. Why is it so important?
Well, a lot of times the ladies we serve, they are coming out of chaotic situations, crisis situations, a lot of trauma. So we want them to know that life doesn't have to be that way. We want them to know that they can come into our home and they can just relax and they can regroup and they can get on their feet while they're there. And being able to live in a home where they have electricity that's on all the time, to have running water, heat and air, the things that we take for granted, they get to experience that and realize how nice it is, and you don't have to live in these uncertain situations.
I guess a lot of us take stability for granted. I mean, it may not have to be luxury, but stability can be, something that we take for granted. Without places like Loving Grace, the statistics can be grim. According to Alternative Family Service National Foster Youth Homeless Statistics, on average, 25 to 30,000 women who age out of foster care are at great risk of being homeless. And 61% of those homeless women that have aged out of foster care are eventually incarcerated, including 25% within the first 2 years of aging out. So let's talk about why is this, and how does maybe solving the problem of shelter make a difference as to whether these ladies might get into trouble or have, criminal issues?
So a lot of times they have that in their family history, or maybe they don't even have a family and they've just bounced from home to home, and they, like you said, didn't have stability. When we offer that stability and we bring people into their lives who are safe people, that's going to help them get on the right path.
I mean, do some of them turn to things like that because it's survival mode?
Yes. Yeah, so they're just doing whatever they can to get by. A lot of times it's that's the only way they have to survive, or maybe they've learned manipulation, and so just whatever to have a place to stay and sleep for the night or a meal to eat.
So who is it you're seeing? Are you seeing some who come from, hey, they had a foster family, but they ended up homeless? Or do you also see some who were in the system
We
and
see
just
both.
came to you?
We see both. Sometimes they've had a decent home life and then home has just been not safe for whatever reason. Maybe it's physical, maybe it's emotional. Sometimes they were in the foster care system and they aged out and they need a place to go. So we see both.
I bet that's unsettling for them when they, especially if they had a home and then like, okay, all of a sudden I'm 18.
Right. Where do I go now?
And is that really a question a lot of them are asking?
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah. So education also seems to be something that you guys deal with, and it's a challenge for these young ladies. The other stats from AFS for Kids show us 58% graduate high school by age 19 compared to the global average of 87%. Less than 2% earn a college degree by 25 compared to the global average of 28% of all 25-year-old women. So let's discuss how your organization is helping lower these averages and how the importance you guys place on school and education.
Sure. So education is a priority. So when the young ladies come in, if they have not finished high school, we want to make sure that they do that, because so many more opportunities are open up to you if you have a high school diploma. It's more than a piece of paper. It's saying, look what I've achieved. Look, I'm capable of finishing what I start. And so when a young lady comes in, she is expected to finish high school if she hasn't. So that means if she wants to go back into the high school, we're going to get her enrolled with Joplin High School. Or if maybe that's not her cup of tea, let's go to the adult education and literacy and get her enrolled there. And then we're going to do what we can to support her. If that means bringing in a tutor that helps her with whatever she needs, so be it, we'll do that. And then we're going to celebrate when they graduate. And I'm happy to say that this year in May, we had 2 high school graduates. One was going to one of the programs at Joplin High School, and one did classes online through another school, but they both finished.
That's great. I mean, and probably knowing somebody cares enough to say, you need to do this is even just a big part of it, right?
Right, right. So one of the young lady that was doing it online, sometimes she needed that extra, hey, have you done your homework today? You need to finish. And so we were there to cheer her on for that, because there was a short time that we didn't even know if she was going to finish this year, and she did. So that made it even sweeter when she finished.
Yeah. Well, ladies, tell us how the house operates. I mean, are there rules and, how, on a day-to-day basis, what's provided for the young ladies? What are they doing on their own, and how does it, how does it function?
So it is a lot like a home. Not really with parents, but like a bunch of ants running around, kind of. But the girls have times that they have to get up, they have curfew at the end of the day. We have meals, so breakfast and lunch, there's a window of time where they can eat. But then supper is set at like 5:30 or 6. And so if the girls are in the home, they sit down and they eat supper together. But during the day, I want them going to class. If they're in school, going to work. Maybe they have doctor's appointments or counseling appointments. So all of that stuff goes on during the day, and they have to communicate where they're going, not because we want to micromanage them, but we want to teach them how important it is to communicate and to make sure that they're going to do the things that they need to do, because we do focus on their overall health. We look at physical health, mental health. We want to make sure they have safe people in their corner. We want to make sure that they're following through. If they have a job, that they're showing up on time. If they have to stay late at their job, we want them to communicate. So if they're going to work past curfew, we need to know those things so that we know that they're doing what they're supposed to do and they're not just out running around, which running around is fine as long as we're staying out of trouble.
Yeah.
And so we have been very fortunate to take in young ladies that they are trying hard to do what we have asked, and they are trying hard to get on their feet.
And I mean, for some of them, it might be an issue of they also need to communicate with you because they might need transportation.
Exactly.
Not all of them come to you with cars, right?
Right. We have very few who have cars. We have one right now that she does drive herself where she needs to go, but the rest of them, they have to communicate those transportation needs.
Yeah, and so then you have like a van or?
We do have a van. And so during regular business hours, we transport them. Outside of business hours, we work with one of the taxi companies here in town.
That's cool. So Cece, tell us, you're new to the organization and you are the development coordinator. What does that title mean?
Yes, so I write grants for Loving Grace. And I have been the development coordinator for 2.5 years, but I just picked up the community coordinator, and I work on getting donors, volunteers, anything that has anything to do with fundraising, donorships. So we are always looking for people to come and visit us, and always looking for donors.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you mentioned volunteers, and we do know that you have renovations going on. So tell us, Sister Corps was one of the groups of volunteers that kind of helped out. What did they do, and what are some of the renovations that are underway?
So, you want me to take this one?
Yep.
Go ahead.
So Sister Corps, they helped with some of pulling up carpet. I think they are going to come back and paint the bedrooms for us. They also would like to build closets for us, but I don't know that they have the amount of people to do that. We do have an organization here in town that's willing to donate the lumber to build the closets.
Awesome.
So we might be looking for volunteers to help with building the closets in those rooms.
Little construction and architectural knowledge needed required for that
Yes,
one.
a little bit.
And what all are you hoping to accomplish with the renovations? And you even have a second house. So tell us, are they the same? Will they be doing the same thing, or what's the goal of the second house?
So the house that we're renovating, it will be to serve more women. We haven't really decided exactly what that process is going to look like, but we just know we want to be able to reopen it and serve more women.
Okay. And so we talked about the Sister Corps. What was it like when you heard that, hey, the football players might be coming in, and Coach Atiba Bradley, what was it like when they stepped up to do that? And what kind of a difference does it make when you bring a team in, Cece?
Well, for one thing, I think the girls appreciate having a bunch of nice, big football players there. We have to kind of control them, but it's good for them to see the sportsmanship and the guys working together and coming in to do work without being paid. I mean, just to see them working. So
Well, it's helpful too, because it lets the women see that our community is helping us. And part of my goal is for these girls that as they are there, they're going to have some volunteer opportunities also, but once they get out on their own, I want them to be able to give back to the community and think, the community helped me when I was in need, now it's my turn.
All right, so let's talk about what's been accomplished, what you still need to get done, and is there a completion date for?
We don't have a
renovation?
completion date right now. Right now, we're still working on getting the carpet up because the carpet's old and stained and it really needs to come up. The football players did a lot pulling up carpet, but there's still some to pull up. And then the bedrooms for sure need to be repainted, the closets built. Those are the main things. There are some minor things outside like fixing the porch. That's the main things.
And what will this addition mean in space as to how many more women you can
We
serve?
can serve 8 more women once this is finished.
so it doubles our size, which
Yes.
is good.
Yeah? Will that mean you have other staffing needs?
That part is also still up in the air. We're deciding how we want to actually run the second house.
Well, certainly it is a service that makes a big difference to the community, and nothing like community service, opportunities for folks to help you guys out. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, student athlete Dimitri Lloyd will step in as host to discuss the importance of volunteering in the community with a very special guest. And as we go to break, another look at some of the data for women aging out of the foster program and the trends over the years.
Welcome back to Newsmakers. I'm Dimitri Lloyd, a communications student here at Missouri Southern and a member of the football team, whose members had an opportunity to volunteer at Loving Grace. Volunteering in the community of Joplin makes an impactful difference like no other. Joining us today for his perspective on the impact of the community service through his team and head football coach is Atiba Bradley. It's a pleasure to have you, and thank you for joining us. And whether in the summer or making the crowd roar in the fall, the team is making waves to the community. What does community service do for a community like Joplin?
Well, I think it's so important because I think being a servant is what we're called to do. I think we're all blessed to have people in our lives that have poured into us and served for us, you know, whether it's changing our diapers or making our breakfast. And so now that we're capable, we're big, strong men, it's our turn to do the same. And I think it's important to do it as close to home as you can. So serving in the Joplin community means a lot because we work, we live, we go to school in the Joplin community.
And what originally drew your interest and kind of eye towards the Loving Grace community? I mean, we've never been there before, so why now?
Sure. I like to find hole in the walls, if that makes sense. You know, there's a lot of well-known organizations that are very worthy causes and receive a lot of attention nationally and are constantly in the spotlight. And so my goal was to kind of find some ones that maybe need as much help but just don't have quite as much exposure. And so Loving Grace was a great fit for us, and we were able to go there and get a lot of work done.
And what about Loving Grace is so much different than the community service work we've done in the past or even the other opportunities we had in the spring?
Yeah, typically we've focused on kids. So we've done a lot of work at the elementary schools, whether it's going to play for recess, whether it's reading books, just being engaged and interactive in the classroom. And so from that standpoint, this was a different clientele. This was a different group. And so being able to go and help kind of remodel that home was a new challenge.
And with 20 players and volunteers and a couple of coaches, what task did each player have to do and what was all involved?
Yeah, I think we were doing everything from, we did a little bit of painting. I think the biggest undertaking was the carpet. They had carpet squares that were glued onto the floor, and they were not coming up easily. So we had to recruit some, not only muscles, but we had to get some tools to kind of scrape and help the carpet squares start to peel up. But we were able to get quite a few of them up.
Did you guys know that you guys were going to be removing the carpet and painting all that? And if so, I saw in the media reports in the Joplin Globe, there's a whole lot of defensive guys there. What was all that if you had to remove all the carpets?
Yeah, I like to go in blind. I like to just tell our guys, hey, come in work clothes, be prepared to do whatever they ask. And we did that. We just showed up and they started directing us. And we had 3 opportunities that spring. And so it just so happened that a lot of defensive guys picked that one.
And what kind of impact do you hope that the team made on the Loving Grace organization?
Yeah, I think it's important that we're able to make an impact on the organization. But if anything, I hope our players start to take again a servant heart with them as they leave the program. And so whether they're in this community or the next community that they move to, I really hope that they continue to serve and lead in the community.
And you were a player yourself here at Joplin, here at Southern. What does community service do for a team and as team morale?
Well, I think it's also neat to see each other outside of the realm of football player and, hey, you're a right guard or a right tackle, you're an old lineman. Guys just get to be guys, and you get to see the different leadership skills as guys help direct the traffic. Some guys are more comfortable being in the back and just kind of hanging out, but it really allows guys to just hang out as individuals and not football players per se.
And even myself being on the team and other people in the community, we've noticed an increase of community service and more than just the kids, as you said, reaching out to those older groups. What's the goal as yourself and your staff and as the players as well, getting out to so many different kinds of community service?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a perception or misnomer about football players and athletes in general is that they're there to just kind of take, whether it's their scholarship or whether it's some of the opportunities they have on the field. And so I think it's really important for athletes to understand that we can give back and we can make an impact. And so being able to go out in the community that serves us and to be able to serve them, I think there's life lessons in there. I think there's just a level of gratitude that you gain by being able to serve some of the people that help serve you.
And that week there was only 20 guys out of the probably 130 that we have recently. There was 4 other opportunities. Could you tell us about the other 3 by chance?
Yeah, so we had the Loving Grace. One of the other ones was we were able to paint and remodel a foster home. We were able to do that one. We went to the Cornell Center, which was throwing an event, and we helped set up and tear down for that. And then the last one is slipping me. You put me on the spot. But, yeah, like I said, it's the challenge that we have in football is finding projects that can keep 100 guys busy for more than an hour. And it's tough. And so we had to kind of break apart and divide and conquer.
And on the more of the impact of community service, what does it show to the community? Kind of what we said in the beginning of Joplin. What does it mean to see, as you said, more than maybe 5 guys at a school? What does it mean to see like 20 guys helping out at a Loving Grace opportunity, or so like the Cornell Center or anything like that?
No, I think it shows, quote unquote, the softer side of a football player. It shows that we're multidimensional. We're not just these big, meatheads that just eat and smash people. We do have another side to us. We do have a caring side. We do have a side that we want to endear ourselves to the public. And so I think it's very important to show us as students, as servants, as players, because we're going to be husbands, we're going to be fathers, and so we need to develop those different sides of ourselves.
And what does it show to the community as a coach, more specifically a head coach, and even your assistants and staff as well?
Yeah, I'm always jealous a little bit because basketball, baseball, you see the faces. It's really easy for you to recognize, oh, that guy plays baseball or that guy plays basketball. Where football, we're a little bit away from the crowd, and we have a helmet on. So sometimes it's tough to identify and really get on a personal level with the football player because of the helmet. And so, again, being out in the public gives us another opportunity for people to really get to know us, to really engage with us.
And was the team kind of aware of what Loving Grace was about and kind of what they serve and their purpose, or is it kind of eye-opening to some of the players or even yourself as well?
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said that I was aware of all the services that they provide. You know, I've lived in Joplin, the collective, 30 years, maybe a little bit less, and I even have a best friend that used to live right across the street from where they're housed. And so when I took the tour and heard of all the things that they provide, it just made it that much more special, because I wasn't aware going into it, and I don't think our guys were, but they definitely had their eyes opened.
And with Loving Grace's second building coming up, or renovations, or they still have to finish some of the carpeting, do you guys see not just football, but Southern athletics being more involved within that organization as well?
Absolutely. I know football in particular will be back out this summer to kind of finish the job that we started. We'll be a little more wiser to the task at hand, and we might bring some different tools to get it done a little more efficiently. But yeah, we definitely want to come back and partner with them again. It's just a great cause, and what they're doing for some of the ladies locally is just amazing.
And what could the guys and yourself take away from this experience, as whether it's at Loving Grace or Cornell, or we almost had the autism awareness at the park kind of thing for community service? What can we take away as players and as coaches as well?
Well, I think, again, just keeping that heart of gratitude, because we all have moms. Some of us have sisters. Some of us I have daughters. And so to be in a situation where you see where some of these ladies are housed and some of the things that they're going through, man, you got to count your blessings, because that's some hard stuff that I don't think anyone could go through. It definitely changes your life.
100%. And Coach Bradley, thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for having us and sharing us that. And admirable work by the team. The Lions will continue to make major impacts throughout the community leading up to their season home opener against Midwestern State University on August 8th. Lisa Oligus will return after we take another break. As we do, find out the difference Loving Grace makes from a young woman living there in this video report.
Cosmetology.
Leilani Penland passed her foundation class and is ready to move to the floor with clients at City Point Beauty Academy.
I'm doing hair, makeup, and nails, and we do some like facial and body waxing.
It was something of a pipe dream as a child, and living at Loving Grace gave her the motivation to pursue it.
It's really nice, actually. Like at first, when I first got there, I was really shy, and I thought I was gonna like just keep to myself and just be on my own. But then the staff and the residents there, they were so loving and kind that it just brought me out of my shell. And now I feel like I've come so far, like from like all the stuff that used to happen to me. And then I thought I wasn't able to do anything, and now I'm here.
Leilani came from a military family that moved a lot. Her mom died when she was 15, which led to some struggles in life.
Everything fell apart after that, and I just like completely lost myself. I thought, because like my stepmom came in and it wasn't the greatest, because like I couldn't let go of my mom, and she didn't want me to mention her at all.
She left home, briefly joined the military, tried living with family in Ohio, and ended up with an old boyfriend in Missouri, which led to several months at Lafayette House, a domestic abuse shelter.
I didn't really have like a place to go when I came to Missouri, and then when Loving Grace showed up, or when I showed up at Loving Grace, everything just changed.
It was at Lafayette House that she connected with Loving Grace for transitional housing. But Leilani found it a place to grow and learn. Loving Grace has volunteers who have provided life skills like budgeting, time management, and even cooking, helping young women like Leilani gain independence.
We volunteer at like the Worth shop, and it gets the girls work experience, and then they help us apply to jobs, and they teach us like how to pay our taxes, and they just teach us like everything that like I needed to know growing up that I didn't learn. It's just like I learned everything there.
She says one thing was key to all her growth at Loving Grace.
God, definitely God. And especially like the staff there is so kind and like loving and welcoming. They want the best for us, and it's so great. Like one of my friends that just left Loving Grace, she used to not be able to cook anything. There was like the fire department like 24/7 at the house, And after she left, she was like our main baker, our main cooker, and like it's just like the way they like take our brokenness and just heal us and make us like feel loved and show us what love truly is like amazing.
We're back, and that was a message that shows us the impact that Love and Grace is truly having. Trina Davis and Cece Brown are back with us with one more message. You have a fall fundraiser in the planning stages called Path to Peace.
Correct.
What inspired the title?
So there are verses in Proverbs 3 that talks about, it's actually talking about wisdom, long life in one hand, riches and honor in another, and at the end it says, and all her paths are to peace. And so that is what spurred the name, because that's what we want for these young ladies. We pray those verses over them because we do want them to have riches and honor, and we want them to have a long life, because if you're homeless, you're not guaranteed that, because you don't know where you're going to get your next meal, where you're going to be sleeping or anything. But then we also do want them to have a life that is full of peace, and we want to get them on that path to peace. So that is why we call our brunch Path to Peace.
So it's a brunch. So what, is it already scheduled? What's the date?
It's September 6th at 10 a.m., and we will be having that at Christ Community Church.
How can the community get involved? And Cece, I know you're trying to develop opportunities for folks. What are ways for people to reach out and help?
If they go to our website, lovinggrace.org, and that's with 1G, they can find out about the luncheon through that. There's a QR code. They can call Loving Grace, and we are at 218-8255. We're sending out flyers to past people that have been involved with Loving Grace. So there's many ways. We're going to have billboards that are advertising for the brunch.
So you're looking for donations all the time because you are supporting multiple women in these homes. But also are there other ways for folks to volunteer besides the renovation work? Because somebody might not be all muscle, but are other things that the community can do?
Yes, we are off of Euclid. We're in the Royal Heights subdivision, and we love people to just stop by. Like this morning, we had two ladies stop by. They brought gifts for the girls, and we give them a tour. We try to make them at home. We'd love people to stop by anytime and talk to us about volunteering. We have many things you can do. You can go in and give lessons to the girls, sewing or budgeting. There's a whole variety of things that they can do.
Life skills.
Right, exactly.
These are things that these young women may not have gotten when they were growing up
Exactly.
in foster care. So, well, great information, ladies, and God bless what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks for being here. Well, that wraps up another edition of Newsmakers. I'm Lisa Oligas. Thanks to our guests, and thank you for watching.